Thank you for joining us here today on Hill Country Happenings News Minutes. The rain in our area has eased up, but the destruction it left behind is still being repaired. A lot of mud was washed into places such as the park along the river, under the old railroad bridge, now the walking bridge on Main Street, and on Snyder Avenue under that railroad bridge, and some places are still under repair. There is debris cleanup that must be done along with clearing up the mud. Now there are tree limbs and pieces of road and even an air conditioning unit that was lodged in one of the trees located in park along the river. We always hear of the destructive power of the rushing waters, but it also has a beauty to it. We saw that in some of the videos that we showed and some of the pictures that were shared with us last week. And we want to thank everyone that shared their videos and their pictures with us. And any time that you have anything that is newsworthy, please feel free to email it to us. Now this past Thursday, Zeke Listenby performed a concert to benefit the Alicia Robinson Memorial Scholarship Fund. Now we caught up with Zeke before the concert and he talked with us about his life here in New Albany. And we also will have some footage later in the show today. And we also have recorded his concert, and we'll be sharing that with you on the station. Now, each year, Carnegie Mellon University and the Tony Awards recognizes a teacher who embodies the highest standards of the profession and has demonstrated monumental impact on the lives of students. As we reported this last week, this year, Mary Beth Muncy has been nominated for the Excellence in Theatrical Education Award. We have been encouraged to post on Facebook how Mary Beth has impacted you and myself as a student, a parent, a community member, in whatever way that you have had interactions with her. Now you'll need to share your own post using #ApplaudMyTeacher. Good luck, Mary Beth. Now we spoke with Mr. Ed Graham, who lives in the Liberty area, to get our range gauge reading for this week. Out at Liberty Way, he reported there were 607 inch. Now that's a lot less than what it was last week, and we're thankful for that. And you'll be able to find on our website a little weather information from the National Weather Forecast. And here's what the next few days will look like. Now on Monday, mostly sunny with a high near 38. The winds will be out of the north at 10 to 15 miles an hour. On Monday night, it will be mostly cloudy with a low around 22. North wind is 5 to 10 miles an hour. At Tuesday, it'll be mostly sunny with a high near 40, and at night, it'll be clear with a low around 23, a little chilly. And on Wednesday, it'll be sunny with a high near 46, and that night, it'll be clear with a low around 30. On Thursday, it'll be partly sunny with a high near 54, warming up a little bit. We're looking forward to that. This year's Great American Cleanup, which is launched by the Keep America Beautifuls, their social theme this year is #CleanYourBlock. The theme is meant to encourage volunteers and participants from all over Union County to take what they learn from experiencing a Great American Cleanup event and bring those lessons home to organize an event in their own block. Now the garden clubs and the Main Street group are calling on community members and civic organizations, churches, and schools to come to the Union County Heritage Museum at 114 Cleveland Street at 9 a.m. on Saturday, March the 23rd. Now, Amy Livingston, who's a part of the Northside Historic Garden Club and also first ward member, alderwoman, said that we want to make the 2019 Great American Club the biggest and best cleanup effort in Mississippi, and we need volunteers and participants to pitch in and help. Volunteers will be given gloves, trash bags, and cleaning assignments at the museum. Now, following the cleanup, the historic Northside Garden Club members will provide a lunch. For more information about the Great American Cleanup, please call Amy Livingston at 523-4766 or Main Street Director Billie Jean Stroud at 534-3438. Now, it is flu season. Yearly flu shots are recommended by the CDC for everyone between 6 months of age and older. Flu vaccinations can reduce flu illness and can prevent flu-related hospitalizations and death. It takes about 2 weeks for the vaccination to provide full protection against the flu. They offer a 3-point strategy for us, and it is as follows. 1. Get your flu shot. It is best to be taken by October of each year, but if you haven't had one yet, it is not too late. 2. Take everyday preventative actions to stop the spread of the germ. Cover your nose and mouth with a tissue when you cough or sneeze, and after using the tissue, throw it in the trash and wash your hands. Wash your hands often with soap and water. If soap and water is not available, use an alcohol-based hand rub. Clean surfaces that have been touched by those that are sick is another important tip. 3. Take your antivirals to treat your flu if the doctor prescribes them. Antiviral drugs can make an illness milder and shorten the time you are sick. They may also prevent serious flu complications, especially if you take them as soon as possible, as soon as the symptoms appear. Your doctor is the only one who can prescribe these. We hope you stay healthy out there. Now in the school news this week, the New Albany Middle School Choir received an all-superior rating in both concert and sight reading evaluations at the District 1 Choral Evaluation on Thursday, February the 21st. The choral instructor is J.J. Curry. Congratulations! The New Albany Elementary School Employee of the Month for February is Donna Stacy. Now, according to coworkers, Miss Stacy goes above and beyond her expected duties and is nice and friendly to everyone. Miss Stacy serves as the kindergarten teacher assistant and has worked at New Albany Elementary School for 19 years. Now, here are some photos of the students of the month for the New Albany Elementary School system, K through 2, and then higher. Each month, a student of the month is chosen for each homeroom at the New Albany Elementary School. The requirements for this honor is that a student is one who goes above and beyond classroom expectations. Congratulations! A Blue Mountain College is having a scholarship gala on April the 26th. Now this year's special guest is John Berry. Berry is a singer-songwriter who rose to stardom on the country charts of the 1990s with such mega hits as Your Love Amazes Me, Standing on the Edge of Goodbye, and She's Taken a Shine. He was born in South Carolina and raised in Georgia, and he began playing guitar at 13, performing shows at age 14 and making records at age 19. By the time I was 17, I knew that music was what I wanted to do with my life, and he has done it well ever since. Between 1979 and 1990, he recorded and marketed 6 albums on his own label. The graduation song, which he wrote during his senior year in high school, became a perennial favorite at graduation ceremonies. It appeared on 2 of his early collections, and we'll be bringing you more about this upcoming event soon. Now remember, story time for preschoolers at the Union County Library is every Wednesday at 10 a.m. And this week's story time theme is Happy Birthday, Dr. Seuss. How fun! We love The Cat in the Hat and Horton Hears a Who and One Fish, Two Fish, Red Fish, Blue Fish, and also many more. He wrote a lot of stories, and we hope that you will take your preschooler and enjoy the stories too. Now, the 10th annual New Albany Home and Garden Show, presented by the Union County Master Gardeners, returns to historic downtown New Albany on Saturday, April the 6th. And this year's show is titled Dancing into Spring. The Master Gardeners are an active part of the Union County Extension Office, helping local gardeners and homeowners with educational materials. The theme of this year's show will be Dancing into Spring and offers another avenue for education about topics on everything from recycling to growing beautiful roses. Now this year's featured speakers is Felder Rushing, Jason Reeves, and Tracy Kramer. The Master Gardeners will host local musicians and intends to bring shopping opportunities with a variety of vendors. If you have a product that you feel would be a great addition to the Home and Garden Show or need more information, please call Pat Campbell at 316-2719. Thank you for joining us here today on Hill Country Happenings News Minutes. Be sure to go and follow us on Instagram, and we have regular posts there now thanks to our own Kendall Cook. And be sure to follow us on Facebook and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you don't miss any of our original programs. Now, we'll have more to our show, so we hope that you will stay tuned. And you can write to us for any information listed, and if you have any questions, comments, or interesting stories, please contact us. Now, we hope you'll stay tuned for the rest of the show, and we hope you have a wonderful week.
Hi, this is Zeke Listenby, and I'm here at the New Albany High School where I graduated back in 1998. And I'm here to take you on a journey of a couple of things that I remember. So let's start in here in the band hall, which is actually the old band hall. It's not the new one, but it's the old one. And this is what I kind of remember. So let's start in here. I have some of the greatest memories in life being in here. I started in here as a freshman in the fall of 1994. And I can remember coming in this room, and this room was so huge to me coming from the junior high band hall. And I didn't realize all the great things I was going to experience while I was in here. And like I said, it's the chorus room now, but when I was here, I can just remember all the awards being on the wall all the way around. And it's a real interesting place to be because I remember being in here for all of the sectionals, all the marching band rehearsals. What was one of the funniest things I remember in here is that in the in the spring of, man, it must have been like 1996 or something, there was this awful smell in here, and we could not get rid of the smell. And we were trying to figure out what was happening, and all day long we couldn't figure out what the smell was. So finally, Mr. Eubanks and I, we walk over here to this area where the tubas were, and the smell got stronger and it got stronger and it got stronger. And finally, Mr. Eubanks picks up the tuba and he shakes it and he said, "Man, I think there's something in here." He turns it over, and there is probably a 6-inch bird that had gotten stuck in the bottom of the tuba, and it was absolutely disgusting. He turned it over and it fell on the floor. So that's one of the great memories that I have being in here in the New Albany Band Hall. I also remember how hard Mr. Eubanks would work with us, he and Mr. Cole. They really instilled in us paying attention to what was going on around the music, not just learning the notes, but learning about the, all the extra things that were going on around the music. It's really interesting how I started here and how many places I've got a chance to go just from starting in this room. I remember in, wow, must have been around 1995 or 1996, I was asked by Miss Harmon, who was the chorus director at the time, I was asked by her to help compose a piece for Bye Bye Birdie, which was the musical that we were doing. Now, I had never composed a piece of music in my life, and Mr. Eubanks could have got anybody else to do it, but somehow he and Miss Harmon decided, hey, why don't we let Zeke do it? And I'm thinking to myself, why would you let Zeke do it? He's just some 10th grader, but he trusted me to do it. So I remember sitting over here with Mr. Eubanks at the piano and doing an interview, and we're talking about, composing the piece. And so I went home with my little sheet music and I composed Bye Bye Birdie, and we played it that year, and it actually wound up being a great thing. I don't know, it almost brings me to tears to think that, I started right here doing things that would absolutely transform different aspects of my life. I never thought anything about going to Texas or going to North Carolina or standing on stages at ACDA in Minneapolis. I never thought about any of those things. I just loved coming in here, being with my friends. I had great band directors. It was a great school. It's amazing how small things can turn into big things if you'll stay faithful with them. I was always playing. Just about every day I came in here, there were 2 songs that I would play. I'd always play Your Song by Elton John, and I'd play Benny and the Jets. And a lot of my friends would always gather around the door because they wanted to hear me play Benny and the Jets. So looking in here in this closet, it just brings back so much fond memories. I was talking to some friends over here, and I was telling them about one of my good friends, Mr. Andy Hall, and we started around the same time in beginner band. We did marching band together, and then coincidentally, when I went to Delta State after I was at the University of Mississippi, we ended up being roommates. He and I, Miss Mary Beth, who else was in the band? Mr. Brandon Garrett, Jamie Shorter. There were several other people. Mr. Will Coleman from George's down the street. There's about 12 of us that were in this band together. Great experience. We were just 11th and 12th graders, and we won talent shows, and we played at the country club. We just thought we were just really something big time. So we had a great time, great memories. I'm looking at this picture of myself, Miss Robinson and I. Man, it's really interesting to look at that. It's a beautiful picture. I remember back, just being so young, and just wanting to just play music and just do music. I wasn't good at anything else. Like, I had friends that were great at sports, they were great at so many other things, but music was the only thing that I really felt connected to. I can remember way back people like Miss Rita West when I was like in 2nd grade, and she would allow me to sit down and play at the piano during music time. And man, it was just these awesome experiences, people just giving me opportunities to do things. And whether I knew what I was doing or not, they believed in me for some reason. And man, it's really heartwarming to look at this. Man, never thought it would come to something like this. It's just absolutely beautiful. And people like Miss Betty King, I have story after story I can share about Miss King and I. I started with her when I was in 5th grade. And I took from her from 5th grade to 7th grade. And she was the most hilarious lady. Her and my father got along so well because my father found out that I was cheating basically during my music lessons because she was playing the music for me. And I would come home and try to remember what she was teaching me. I was standing on a stage a couple of years ago, and I could directly connect back to Betty King for the reason being that I was standing on that stage. She connected me with so many people, and she's always been like a mother to me, and so just real sweet. And Miss Robinson, wow. You take a picture with someone and you never think that it's the last time you're going to see someone. And I was just walking down the hall when I was visiting about 4 years ago, and she came out of her classroom and we just talked, She was actually in the same exact room that she was 20 years ago when I was here. And we just talked, and she was very encouraging. It's an honor to be here to celebrate her with this fundraiser. This Alicia Robinson Memorial Scholarship, I'm excited to be here to help celebrate and help raise money for that. You know, I knew Miss Robinson way back. When I say way back, we actually lived in the same apartment complex when I was a kid. She was a very caring lady, and she loved good music. She loved really good music. I remember that. And we actually went to church together for several years too. And to have a fundraiser to remember someone who made such an impact is a necessity in this day and age. There's so many people who don't leave an impact anymore. And if they do leave an impact, it's not positive. And her memory will live on, of course, in her daughter and in her grandkids, but also in all the students that she was connected to. It's a real blessing to be here, to be able to honor her just with some good music and, you know, bless the town of New Albany.
My falling soul, he looked beyond my faults and saw my needs.
I'm always asked about some of my influences, and man, I always have to talk about Sam and Bob Johnson. I met them basically when I was like 4 or 5 years old. My dad was a musician with them and would help them arrange some of their music. And those guys spent a lot of time giving me the education of music. Some of my first music education came from being at the Hut with Bob Johnson and Sam Mosley. They really took a lot of time to teach me how music was supposed to be put together. They weren't just bluesmen. I think some people, they restrict them down to just their talent, but these guys were educators. They took time to teach me how a band is supposed to work together, how you create music that makes people move. How do you create music that makes people feel what's going on? And their music went far beyond anything in New Albany. I think I watched a couple of weeks ago, I watched a comedian on TV. They were singing one of Sam and Bob's songs. And I was like, my God, New Albany is just on the map everywhere. And it's because of people like Sam and Bob. I still remember the last conversation I had with Bob Johnson before he passed away. I was standing in his driveway, and he gave me a keyboard and a amplifier. And we stood and we talked, and man, he was really encouraging me. It was like my freshman year in college, and he was encouraging me, and hey man, stick with it. You're going to enjoy college, learn everything you can. And I think about 2 weeks later, he was gone. So I have great memories of those guys. Man, they used to, when I was trying to learn how to write horn charts, they used to let me have their Malaco horn charts and let me study them for weeks at a time, which was a complete gold mine. And man, great memories of those guys. So when I was in 11th grade, I decided that I wanted to be a band director. So I told Mr. Eubanks, hey man, I think this is what I want to do. And he was very encouraging about that. And then I decided that I was going to go to the University of Mississippi. So I went there, studied, had a phenomenal time while I was there. Then I decided I want to go to Delta State University, and I did a little bit more studying as far as choral conducting is concerned. And then while I was there, I began to not want to be a band director anymore. I had done all this studying, had done all these things. I still loved music. I still loved the idea of teaching music, but I just didn't want to be a teacher anymore. I ended up going into full-time ministry. It's just something that never crossed my mind. But when I got in there and I started becoming a worship pastor, I said, man, this really fits. I think this is really what I was called to do. And I used to think I was a complete failure because I didn't get a chance to do all the stuff I wanted to do as far as like teaching in a classroom. But I got a chance to use every aspect of what I learned in school to be able to use that in church with the people that come there every week. So I ended up moving to North Carolina and ended up becoming a worship pastor. And I have been a worship pastor now for 13 years. You know, I think being a worship pastor allows me to be able to use every aspect of what I learned in school, but just in a Christian environment, in a church environment. I still get a chance to work with bands. I still get a chance to compose. We have like a 30-piece orchestra at our church, and it's around 60 members when you add the students in there. I still get a chance to teach choir. I still get a chance to do all these things. I just do it in a church. It's encouraging now to be able to look back and go, none of the things I learned was wasted. I got a chance to use every bit of what God allowed me to experience, just using in church. That was the only difference. I'm very fulfilled in what I do. I love to be able to help people figure out what they're doing, how they're going to do it, and encourage them during their times that they're down. It's a huge blessing to know that God does not fail. He uses everything to be able to help us to be exactly what He wants us to be, to go where He wants us to go, and to do what He wants us to do. I consider it a huge blessing to be able to have started here in New Albany, Mississippi, which is still my home. I still feel at home every time I come back here. To be able to start here and to be able to take what I learned in New Albany, Mississippi, and take it to the rest of the world.
How marvelous that grace that caught my falling soul. He looked beyond my faults and saw my needs over and over again. He looked beyond my faults and saw my needs. I wrote a song to kind of go along with that. It talks about how God's grace has covered me over and over and over and over. How many know that God is not just a God of second chances? I blew my second chance about 20 years ago. Anybody else in here? God is a God of this enormous amount of chances. So I wrote the song that says, over. Was greater